Welcome or welcome back to my channel. If you are new here, my name is Edith and I like to read books and yap about them to you guys. And today, if you count today, there is 11 days left of May, which in my brain means that there's 11 days left of spring. And so I was thinking maybe we should do a video to see if in those 11 days I can finish off my spring TBR and my bucket list, which I think I can, because I'm pretty up to date with it. We're back with the little mini mic. I'm gonna keep an eye out and make sure that it keeps its power on, because I have tried before filming an entire video just to see that it ran out of power and then there was no audio for like 20 minutes. So, keeping an eye out for that. But the spring TBR spread is here, and so far I have read Promise Me Sunshine, I have DNF'd The House Across the Lake and Magnolia Parks and The Ick Factor, and then I read Part of Your World, Maybe in Another Life, and The Way I Am Now, which for the TBR and for this video leaves In Your Dreams by Sarah Adams and 7 Days in June by Tia Williams, which I have owned this book on my Kindle for years, and every single time June rolls around, I tell myself I have to read it, and then I don't. And all of a sudden, June is over. So, this year I decided to say, fuck it, we're gonna read it before it's even June. But, we are starting the video off with In Your Dreams, which I will be starting at some point today. Now, if we then take a look at our other journal, where we have our spring bucket list, I have ticked off a few things that I've actually decided I still kind of want to include in the video, because I don't think I've done them that much. So I made a little to-do list on my, notes app, because I thought that would be better. The only ones I haven't actually checked off on the spring bucket list, which is right here, is bake spring flour sourdough, pick flowers, and read my spring TBR. So those three we're going to do in this video, but we are also going to be crocheting something, because I put down crochet more, and I crocheted a few things in the start of spring, and then I kind of stopped again. So I want to bring that back for this video. So on my to-do list for this video is also to crochet something, and then I want to go on some walks together. So those are the 5 things that we need to do together in this video before spring is over. So, come along with me for these last few days of spring to try and finish off the bucket list and the TBR. Alright, it is only the next day, but I do have quite a few updates. I have a crochet update, a little bitty book update, and a yarn haul. So let's start with the crochet one, which I actually need to get him over here. We made this guy, and from the back, that looks terrible, but from the front, I think I've pushed him around enough that the top looks okay. So far, right now, he's sitting on my bookshelves next to my Elsie Silver. He was on the book card yesterday, so I could get some photos of him, and the video that I inserted into the video I inserted into the video. And I think he's kind of adorable. So for now, his place is going to be on the bookshelf, and I started and finished him yesterday. So I would say that's pretty well done. And then book update. I am only 40 pages into this, so 10%, but I'm already very interested in this. I have really liked all the other books in the series. They have all been. Actually, I think the first one might have been like a 3.5 star, but other than that, like it's a 4 and a 4.5. So I am very excited about this. It is like a brother's best friend, but also kind of childhood friends to lovers sort of thing. Except for the fact that they're not really like best friend, but because her brother, who is the main character in the first book, when in Rome, is best friends with him, and she's his little sister, obviously. They've known each other since they were kids, so therefore there is kind of a childhood friends aspect of it. He's always been in love with her. Right now, she's not in love with him. But that does mean we get some good yearning, and I'm looking forward to reading about that. And in this book, I think it was the ending of the last book where she went to New York to study the culinary scene over there and go to school for it and all of that. And in the start of this book, she talks about how that didn't go that well for her. So she wants to come back home, but she doesn't want to disappoint anybody by coming back home without any good prospects. And by mistake, she calls James, her name's Madison, she calls James, her brother's best friend, from her little hometown, Rome in Kentucky, which is where all these books take place, and I'm so happy to be back there. So she accidentally calls him and tells him all of this stuff, and he offers her a job to help him start a new little restaurant in their small town. The only problem is he actually hadn't planned on doing this restaurant thing. Like, his own little brother gave him the idea, and he was like, no way, we're not doing that. And then Madison called, crying, and was like, I want to come home, but I can't come home because of this. And then he decided to make a restaurant basically for her. So she's just gone back into town. There's going to be some stuff with his little brother who's also trying to flirt with her and stuff like that. And honestly, I'm very excited about this. I do love Sarah Adams' writing. I love this series, and very excited to be back in it. For the yarn haul, I bought one thing that we're going to use for one more thing in this video, and then I bought some yarn for 2 other projects for my next reading vlog. So for today's video, I bought this yellow fluffy yarn because we're going to be making this little sun jelly cat. I'm pretty sure I'm making this with a specific friend in mind I want to give it to once it's done. But bought one ball of yarn because I feel like this yarn always lasts way longer than I think it does. So, stuck to one of those. For one of my other projects for the next reading vlog, which I won't get into what it is, but I bought these 2 kind of copper orange, one brown and one dark green, and then for actually a whole nother project, I just need some white, but I also need some of the orange for that one. So they kind of tied in together, and this way I can use some of the black yarn that I have for whatever this is. So we actually kind of have 3 crochet projects for my next video. Maybe I'll push one of them a little bit further. We'll figure that out. And then, not fluffy, but for that third project, I bought 3 of these dark purple ones and 3 of the light purple, and then 1 yellow, and then I need some white, but I already have that. And again, That's not going to be in this video, so I'm not going to tell you guys what it's for, but I am very excited about all of this. And I did insert a clip of me organizing my yarn, and basically I am like giving away most of my yarn because I have so many different like colors and little bitty leftovers that I'm just never going to use. So I'm going to be donating a lot of my yarn, and then from now on I'm going to be like doing this, finding one or two, maybe more patterns that I want to do, and then buying the yarn for that specific pattern. And then hopefully I won't get too many like leftovers and stuff. But with this sort of like fluffy yarn, I find myself easier using it. But I have a bunch of black fluffy yarn that I need to use. So that's why I bought this, because I have a project in mind where I needed a little bit of white and I don't have any more of it. Oh yeah, and the last thing I bought is some more filling, which this looks like nothing, but you just need to pop a hole in it so that some air can get in, and then it will grow to 300 grams of filling. I do have one entire other bag with the rest of my supplies, but since I've discovered that I love making plushies, you can never have too much filling. So that is our little update for today. That's also all I did today, was go with my friend to get lunch and buy yarn. And the rest of my plans for today is to read a bunch. I'm going to wait with the rest of the crochet because I know if I start now, I will not be able to finish until I'm like done with the next project. So we're going to push off on that and spend the rest of the day reading, eating dinner, stuff like that. And then tomorrow we're going to go on a walk and to the movies. And obviously read more, possibly start my next crochet project. All of that we will see. But I think we can already tick off the crochet something off my bucket list, but I think we need to do one more little quick project and then obviously continue with the reading. So let's get on that. It is a few days later, and I'm back with yet another update, and this one's kind of a big one. First of all, I just today finished our second and last crochet project of this video, which is this adorable little sun that I'm going to give to one of my friends. And it was actually super quick and easy to do. I finished the first circle for the sun yesterday, but the rest of this was done all today. I added a little bit of blush, a little bit of a crooked smile because I think the eyes are crooked, so it was a little bit hard to try to like measure with the eyes where to put the smile. But I'm actually really proud of him, and he's really cute, so he's done. But another thing that I finished yesterday is in fact In Your Dreams by Sarah Adams. And I think I landed on giving this book a 4-star rating. I actually really enjoyed this book. First of all, no third act breakup. And if you're not new here, you know, third act breakups make or break a book for me, so when there is no third act breakup, that makes a book for me. And I am the type who searches it up. Once I get near the end, I have to search up if there is a third act breakup, because otherwise I'm going to spend the entire time tense waiting for a third act breakup to ruin everything. So I knew there wasn't going to be one, and I was very excited about it. And I also just really loved both of these characters, and I think they were really well fleshed out. Apparently I'm a little bit of a sucker for the guy has had a crush for the girl, on the girl for so many years, because the yearning this man did in this book, absolutely amazing. I could have actually used a little bit more of it, if I'm being completely honest with you guys. And also the final scene in this is just such a perfect little found family moment. I know some of them are family because there's Noah from the first book, and then the books follow his sisters, but then them bringing their boyfriends into it and all of that sort of stuff, which I really love. Yeah. Also, side character Mabel, this old woman, I could use an entire book just about her day-to-day life. It's so interesting. I can't think of anything else to say. I feel like that was a really quick review of this, but I don't think there is that much more to say about this book. It was quick, it was easy, it was fun, but it also had depth to it, and I did cry a little bit at some points, but that's what I expect when I read a Sarah Adams book. The only thing I will say, I kind of wish she kept this series spice-free. I'm pretty sure the first 2 books were spice-free. Maybe the first one, and then the second one had a little bit, and then the third one had some, and this also had some. And at one point I get the fact that it's kind of a part of her character in this book, but I do think you could have made that clear without the specific scenes, if that makes any sense. So I kind of wish she kept it spice-free. You guys know it's not like I hate spice. I enjoy spice more in dark romance books. Not sure what that says about me, but in cute fluffy romances, most of the time I just think it's a waste of pages in the book. But with that out of the way, we do only have one book left on our spring TBR, which is 7 Days in June. And I'm a little bit scared to get into this because I'm pretty sure it's going to be really sad. Also because everybody I have seen loves this, and I tend to like romance books that other people hate, and then hate the books that other people love when it comes to romance specifically. So that does make me a little bit nervous, and I will start it later today. For right now, I just started our sourdough, which is our second to last part of the bucket list. And so in about 30 to 20 minutes, I have to check on that, do the stretch and folds for every half hour for the next 2 hours. And we're also currently making lunch, or my mom is currently making lunch. We're going to eat burgers, probably going to eat them outside, maybe, depending on how hot it is. If it's too hot, we'll eat them inside, and then after lunch, and it's already very late, I'm a little bit sad I missed peak UV hours, but I also know you're not technically supposed to tan during peak UV hours. But then my plan is, after lunch, to get into my bikini, some sunscreen on, and lay outside and start this while we're doing the sourdough on the side. We're doing a spring onion and cheddar cheese sourdough. So those are my spring flavored sourdoughs. So let's get on with lunch, tanning, and sourdough. It is pretty good. I feel like I'm talking very loudly. I'm not sure this is gonna stick. Editing me talking with this, I've been a little bit not the biggest fan of it. The only thing that's good about this is that, all the background noise kind of gets cut out. Like, if my mom is in the kitchen and accidentally, starts washing a dish, which is making some noise, you can't really hear that. And, cars driving by. Right now, the door's closed, but when I'm in my room with the window open, it's also more quiet. God, my arm hurts from yesterday. Okay. I did in fact try to film this entire update a few hours ago, but I was feeling a little bit weird. I think my period might be coming because I also cried yesterday because of the sourdough. And now we're going to try and actually talk about 7 days in June. It is also better because I filmed that update a few hours ago, I was only 20% through it, and now I am 50% through this. And we have 2.5 hours left of the book, which I am kind of hoping to finish today. Don't hold that against me. You guys know I love to start a day off with a book where I'm like, oh yeah, I'm just gonna try and read as much as possible of this today, but I don't think I'll finish it. And then all of a sudden I get halfway and I'm like, I can finish the last half, which is always a big feat. And I'm always like, don't hold me to it, but then I somehow do it anyway. So who knows? 7 Days in June by Tia Williams is about two authors. Because I feel like it's important to the story, we're gonna mention the fact that these are two Black authors who write two kind of very different books. Types of books. They've written more and 2 books. And we're following them over 7 days in June, but we're following them both in 2019, but we're also following them 15 years earlier when they first met and spent a week together as teenagers. So, it is in fact a second chance romance, which is very hit or miss for me. I feel like sometimes with second chance romances, and I know it's like a very talked about thing, the fact that sometimes with second chance romances, you wait the entire book, and then when you figure out what happened, sometimes, not often, but sometimes it is something so bad that it's like you can't actually root for the characters to get together. I don't think it's going to be that with this book, because from what we've seen from when they were kids, they both had so much stuff going on in their lives. She had a bunch of stuff going on with her mom and the men her mom would date, and he had a lot of stuff going on with not having any parents and drugs and stuff like that. And then now, years later, he's been sober for a year and some months. No, 2 years and some months. He's been sober for a while, and she is writing this series that she's low-key getting a little bit sick of, and she wants to write something else, but she can't really get to do that because there's always this pressure from the publishers for her to like write the next book in this series. But she has like a book she really wants to write, which I think is like a book about the women in her family. The women in her family have a very interesting history, which I think is what she wants to like write about if she could just write anything she wanted. I had a little bit of a hard time getting into it at first because I felt like some of the ways the people talk, I was like, nobody actually talks like that. Obviously, I'm not talking, I don't know how to explain it. Actually, I don't know what to tell you guys I'm not talking about, other than to tell you guys that I'm just talking about the like her teenage daughter, for example, because she is the female main character now, also a single mother, and a young single mother. In some of the ways her daughter would talk, I would be like, there is absolutely no teenagers that would talk like this. But I don't know if it was just like a getting used to this writing style and these specific characters kind of thing. Because right now, where we are at, I am obsessed. I am really obsessed. And so far, this book is gonna break my heart. I can tell. I mean, just from like the small stuff we've gotten from their childhoods, that alone, I could actually read an entire book focused on that. So I guess without nitpicking, if I had to mention the few things halfway in I think I would have liked better, it took me a little bit to get into the writing style, specifically when it comes to the dialogue, and I wish we got a little bit more of them when they were younger. Let's continue reading. So, I just finished 7 Days in June, which does mean I'm here to finish off this video, even though there is one thing on my spring bucket list we have yet to do, but I don't think I'm gonna do it. And so, I kind of feel like there's no reason to continue this vlog because I don't know what I would do with the reading part. I don't know if I'm going to do this thing, which is picking flowers, or if I'm not going to do it, and I don't want to wait around with this video just to see if I do it. So, to finish off this video, while I talk to you guys about 7 days in June, and I have extremely conflicting thoughts, I'm going to update my journals while we do this. So, 7 days in June. When I talked to you guys earlier, I did mention the fact that the beginning had taken me a while to get into, and I will stick by that. I do think the ending took me a little bit to get into, specifically getting into, or like getting used to the different characters' dialogue, because it felt very different from anything I've ever read before. It doesn't have to be in a bad way, but it did affect the amount of time it took me to get into the book. Then the middle of the book, from like 20% to 75 maybe, honestly, I was obsessed. I loved the two kind of short but sweet spice scenes we got. I really loved the depth of the characters. I really loved getting to see them together, hearing a little bit about their past, all of this sort of stuff. And then we got to the ending, and I hated it. It just felt incredibly rushed, if you ask me. The ending, I'm not gonna sit here and say it was a terrible ending. I just really didn't like it. I felt like the book could have either removed some of its other focus points and then spread out the ending a little bit more, or it could have been 200 pages longer. Not even just 100, 200 pages longer, and like dived deeper into what the ending kind of just brushed through. I feel like the epilogue is what I'm talking about specifically here, because it was 17 minutes long, and it just like, it was like the finishing touches of the book, but there were so many of them that it completely needed to be 100, 150, 200 pages longer for it to like fully flesh it out. So that just felt really weird, because I feel like Tia Williams is an amazing writer, and I just think that she could have done something amazing with some of this stuff and kind of just missed the mark with this ending. So I do think we are landing on a 3.75 star rating, and it sucks, because I actually genuinely for a minute there thought I was going to eat this book up and give it a super high rating, not a 5-star, but a high rating, but it did not end up that way. Thank you so much for spending this week with me. If you enjoyed it, do not forget to give it a like, comment, and subscribe. Turn on your bell notifications so you get notified every single time I post a new video. And with that said, I will see you all in the next one. Bye.